Back. Welcome one and welcome all to yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Guess what, guys? The national media is at it again. They are lying to you about Lamar Jackson and this contract situation. We got to get into that here on this episode. By the way, more schedule leaks have been coming out slowly but surely. Somebody called them shiny announcements. I think it was Pat McAfee or something like that. I think that makes a lot of sense because the NFL is clearly trying to push, these leaks early, right? It's not actual leaks. The NFL is releasing this information for their own benefit. We're going to get into that and so much more here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. But first, please be sure to like the video. We are back. I am your host, Sutton Def, and you're listening to Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. We're back with another episode covering these Baltimore Ravens, where we do that daily here. So if that sounds good to you and you are a first-time listener, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and also be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be sure whenever we go live here on PRP. Because guess what? It's most days out of the week, to be honest with you. Really, the only time we don't go live is on the weekends. Okay, your boy needs a little break unless we do some emergency podding, things like that, right? But yeah, welcome in to another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Couple things to break down here on this Tuesday, May 12th, about our Baltimore Ravens, and then also other NFL news as well. Don't get me wrong, but I want to start off by giving a big shout out to everybody who's watching here in the live chat. Shout out to the live chat. I see Tila, one of our members and moderators, in the chat. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well, Tila. Afia is also in the chat. What's going on? Greetings. Salutations to you as well. Christian, another member in the chat. What up? What up? King Blaze says, yo. Appreciate you for coming through. I see my guy Glaucoma is in the chat as well. Hope you guys are all having a great day. And as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the show. Again, make sure you like the video. But outside of that, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into this. Let's dive right into this one, right? So earlier today, I was reading an article on ESPN, and I have it pulled up here so we can all kind of read through it together. And as you guys know, ESPN articles about the Ravens are always written by Jamison Hensley, who is a beat writer for the Baltimore Ravens team, and he covers them for ESPN professionally. And, there's a little bit of an asterisk there on professionally for me. Jamison Hensley has me blocked on Twitter for a reason, I guess, but that's neither here nor there. Anywho, but the reason I bring up who it is who's writing this article is because as a beat writer, his job, his role and responsibility is to capture and keep his ear on the heartbeat of the team, right? So he knows what's going on at the castle and he knows the context. But let's read this because we're going to kind of juxtapose what he's saying here with what you hear in the national media. Because what do you hear in the national media? Before we actually read this, what do you hear in the national media? In the national media, you hear, Lamar Jackson is difficult to deal with. We don't know if he actually wants to be in Baltimore. If he did want to be in Baltimore, why didn't he sign his contract yet? Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. We hear all of that noise, right? Oh, do the Ravens think, should they trade him? Is Lamar, is he satisfied? All that stuff. That's what we hear the national media say. But I've said many times on this channel, that could not be further from the truth. Any of those allegations. It's not the reason why Lamar Jackson has not signed an extension yet with the Baltimore Ravens. Actually, not even close. It's not even close to the reason. And I've been saying this for months, guys, again. But let's go ahead and dive into this article here. It says, will the Ravens reach a contract extension with Lamar Jackson? No one can really answer this other than Jackson and the Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta, and both sides have typically not said much about negotiations. But a few days after the draft, EDC expressed optimism that a new deal between the two-time NFL MVP and the Ravens will get done. Now let's stop right there. This is a few days after the draft. So a couple of weeks ago, EDC saying that he has optimism that a new deal between the Ravens and Lamar will get done. That does not say he's hoping that deal gets done before the season starts. But again, if you let the national media tell it, They're like, oh, the Ravens and general manager Eric DeCosta, they want to get something done right now. They're talking to Lamar constantly. That's what they would kind of spin a narrative and make you think if you don't really have your ear to the streets. But that could not be further from the truth. After the Ravens restructured Lamar Jackson's contract a couple of weeks ago, I think all talks just ceased from there. All talks ceased. And we're going to get into another reason why that may have happened as well. But let's keep reading here in this article. I'm confident Lamar will be here, EDC said. I think he loves the team. He loves the city. He loves our fan base. And when I think of the Ravens, I think of Lamar Jackson being on the field. Also, yeah, I think that's fair to say. Baltimore is looking to extend Jackson because he has 2 years remaining on his contract. His salary cap hit jumps to $84.34 million next offseason, which is the second highest in the NFL and will account for 26% of Baltimore's 2027 cap. So let's stop right there. So obviously, the Ravens cannot go into the 2027 season with Lamar Jackson allocating for 26%, over a quarter of the cap space, with that $84 million hit. So it's apparent that the Ravens are going to need to work out an extension with Lamar Jackson, right? And myself, much like most other Ravens fans, are aligned when we say that a deal will get done. But what I don't like, and again, going back to national media narratives, is how the media will spin it. They'll spin it so it sounds like Lamar is just being difficult and he doesn't want to play ball. Let's continue, though, because we're not done here. It says this is a unique situation because Lamar does not have an agent and represents himself. And this is probably where it gets nasty here. The questions about Jackson's future increased in March when he and the Ravens did not agree to a new deal even after owner Steve Bisciotti spoke to him about the urgency to get an extension completed before the start of free agency. Okay, let's stop there for a second. So yes, if we do take a quick little history lesson, all of these things absolutely did happen. They absolutely did happen. I remember back in just literally a couple of months ago, you had Steve Bisciotti on that podium with EDC, and Steve was very, very candid about a lot of things, and that was one of them. He talked about how, he's talked to Lamar Jackson and how Lamar Jackson seems amenable to getting a deal done sooner rather than later, like they wanted. The owner of the team literally said, I would hope we can get this thing wrapped up by free agency. But he did say otherwise. We'll just kick the money down the road. We'll kick the can down the road. You can play with the money all you want. Listen, this is not money that these guys, and when I say these guys, I mean these NFL owners, are at all worried about. They're not worried about a couple $100 million or whatever, for his star player's contract. Now, do they want to get the best deal? Of course. But it's almost as if the money's not even really coming out of their pocket because these guys are printing money at a much faster pace. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this. Steve Bisciotti doesn't have any ill will, or Eric DeCosta, I don't think, has any ill will towards Lamar Jackson for not getting a deal done when it was most beneficial for them and not him. I think that they respect Lamar Jackson well enough, based off of their words and actions at times, that they understand that Lamar is a businessman. And no, he does not have an agent. But that doesn't change anything. If Lamar wants to do deals himself and his mother, he can absolutely do that. And if think about it like this really quick too. If Lamar Jackson doesn't have an agent, why do you think that, if he doesn't want to play ball with a middleman, right? Why do you think that he would just be so open to playing ball when he talks directly to the GM and owner? Right? Obviously, Lamar Jackson has a very high set of standards. And he's not just going to capitulate to whatever negotiation tactics that the Ravens throw at him, when they were talking about the deal and things like that. He's just like, you know what, I'll just accept that. Yeah, sure, I'll accept that. No, he's a strategic businessman. And we got to start respecting him as such. Okay? We got to start respecting him as such because he's about to do something that not a whole lot of quarterbacks can say they've done. And that's get 2 contracts, 2 deals where you were the highest paid player of all time annually, right? Not a whole lot of quarterbacks can say that. And the fact that he would have then, and this is inevitable because we know he's going to get that, the fact that he would have now done that twice on his own, you got to start respecting him. You got to start respecting him. In a lot of ways, why do we not talk about Lamar Jackson as a pioneer? As a pioneer when it comes to, and a role model when it comes to how to conduct business in the NFL. How to conduct business. Because by all accords and all accounts, all we see is Lamar Jackson driving a hard bargain. He did it in 2023, became the highest paid, and he's getting ready to do it again. So we got to start respecting his ability to do that. Like everybody kind of frames it. Again, national media, this is ESPN, again, they'll frame it like it's a bad thing. Like, oh, he doesn't have an agent. That's a bad move for Lamar. How? Like I said, he's about to become for the second time, the highest paid quarterback. And pause. I know, guys, you guys are gonna say it in the chat. Anywho, let's continue with this article here. That was crazy. The questions about Jackson's future increased in March when he and the Ravens didn't agree to a new deal after owner Steve Bisciotti spoke to him about the urgency. The encouraging sign has been Lamar's attendance at the team's offseason workout program and first minicamp, both of which are voluntary. Jackson skipped most voluntary workouts in the past. So, giving a little bit of credit there. I'm really enjoying getting to know Lamar, Ravens offensive coordinator Declan Doyle said at the team's new uniform unveiling last month. Obviously, any relationship takes a long stretch of time to develop trust, but thus far, I think he's really excited. I'm really excited, and I can't wait to keep working with him. So, again, guys, to kind of put a bow on that, let me actually show you guys this tab as well. Let me show you guys this screen. This is quarterback contracts. You can kind of, visually kind of chew on this for a little bit while we talk about Lamar Jackson's deal that's coming up. Because what I also want to say is that for Lamar, the main reason why he has not gotten this deal done yet with the Ravens is because, of course, he's going to do what? He's going to bet on himself one more time. And I know, guys, I've said this before, but I'm going somewhere slightly different here. He's going to bet on himself every single time. And why would I go into battle, right? Metaphorically for a contract negotiation. Why would I go into battle with not my best weapon, not my best work? You know what I'm saying? Why would I go in with the old beat up, 8-9, missed the playoffs, missed a quarter of the season? Why would I go in with that weapon? Because it's a what have you done for me lately league. So right now, as it stands right now, if Lamar Jackson goes in and sits down with the Baltimore Ravens about an extension, right, they're going to pull up his file and say, let's take a look at what you did last year. Okay, you missed 4 games. You threw for way less touchdown passes than the year before. Team missed the playoffs. Coach got fired. We know you want to be the highest paid, and we might be able to swing that, Lamar, but this extra $5 million, so you can kind of set yourself apart from some of the other guys, we just don't know if that's, feasible for us right now. You know what I mean? Because again, it's a what have you done for me lately league. Lamar has a lot of the cards right now. But he knows if he waits one more season and he bets on himself one more time, he knows he's going to have even more cards for leverage in these talks. He knows that. Okay, he knows that. And if you're Lamar Jackson, here's the thing. You're not tripping. Here's the other thing. You're not tripping about not getting a deal done right now. You're just not. Super chat here from Mad Rasta. Let me see.
It's a trade-off not having an agent. He is smart enough to construct deal with lawyer, but with an agent and his accolades he would be marketed better and more favorable in media.
I'm going to get to this. In just a second, Mad Rasta. Thank you so much, brother, for your super chat donation. Making it rain here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Let's clap it up for Mad Rasta, man. Always supporting, always doing his thing. We appreciate you, brother, here at PRP. Now, real quick, like I was saying, Lamar Jackson is not at all tripping about not getting an extension done right now because, quite frankly, it's not like he's hurting for cash, right? It's not like, it's not a situation where it's like, I hope boss gives me this raise so I can eat next week, so I can continue to feed my family. No, it's not that, right? He is a high stakes businessman, just like anyone else. So, of course, he's going to wait for the best deal possible. And oh, by the way, I think that he would be damned if he signed a deal right now. Let's say he got, paid for $61 million. Let's say he got $61 million, and then with cap going up and things like that, one of these other guys who are due to get paid here in the next couple of years, let's say a Caleb Williams, let's say a CJ Stroud, let's say a Bryce Young. Don't let any of those guys throw for anywhere near 30 touchdowns. Because history says it's all about, if you're a top tier quarterback, you've proven you basically, even if you're just top 10, okay, maybe like top 7, but if you're somewhere in that realm, yeah, when it's your turn to get paid, more times than not, you're going to become the highest paid quarterback in the league. And I think Lamar Jackson would be damned if he went and signed a contract today just for the likes of, one of these other guys, again, CJ Stroud as an example, maybe somebody like that, Caleb Williams, even though I think he's got a couple more years until he's eligible, or maybe like one more year. But you guys get my point. He wants to wait until he's got most of the leverage. Let's wait after this season. Eric DeCosta just said on Baltimore radio yesterday that he expects Lamar to have a huge season. And if anybody could win MVP this year, he thinks it's going to be Lamar. So if Eric knows that, and Eric knows that Lamar knows that, all he has to do is bet on himself again, perform this year, ball out with this new coaching staff. I got new weapons around me. I got new protection in front of me. Yeah, I want to see what I can do with that. Yeah, I'm going to bring my best weapon to the fight. That's what Lamar Jackson is looking for here. Now, Matt Rosta, getting into your statement here, your super chat, again, appreciate you, brother. It is a trade-off not having an agent. And of course, he has deals with lawyers and things like that to make sure he's not getting screwed over in contracts. But with an agent and his accolades, he would be marketed better and more favorable in media. So, yes and no. Okay, yes and no on this one, Mad Rasta. And here's why. Yes to, with an agent and with his accolades, he would be marketed better. I do agree with that. I do think you would see Lamar around in commercials and, on certain deals and things like that, like high profile deals. You would see that. However, I don't think that would make him more favorable in the media. I don't. As a matter of fact, I think that would lead to twice the amount of scrutiny. Because listen, here's the thing about it. All the people, all the naysayers, the detractors, all the haters, all the people who wanted to always be right about Lamar Jackson from day one, all of those people do not give a damn if you're marketed more. As a matter of fact, if they see your face more, they're going to be more irritated and more inclined to talk about you because you're just naturally more relevant. We see how relevant Lamar Jackson is without being in commercials, without having a bunch of different brand deals and things like that. How much they talk about him in national sports media. Whenever they need to get some views, they talk about our quarterback. Whenever they need engagement, they talk about number 8, Lamar Jackson. It's their go-to. It's their go-to. And that's without him being, again, a super high profile guy, so to say. So again, yes, too, he would get marketed better, but I don't think he would be favorable in media still. I don't. Thank you so much, brother, for your super chat donation, making it rain here again on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Listen, guys, be sure to like this video. Please leave a like on the video. We'd appreciate that here at PRP, and subscribe if you are new as well. We do have a member giveaway coming up very, very soon, and actually 5 episodes of the PRP main pod. So that's in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks, we will be doing a giveaway on the channel. So you know what that means. If you are a member of this channel, right? Or if you become a member today, you'll automatically qualify for the giveaway that we're having in about 2 weeks, right? Because the membership lasts a month. You guys know it's like a monthly thing, but we appreciate all of our members here. And of course, that's what we do for our members. We do our free giveaways. And then we also do member call-ins. So if you ever want to call into the show, I have certain episodes where you can call in, right? You can chop it up with me, give your takes on the Ravens. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Be sure to comment down below as well. What up, Mike? I see you in the chat. From Toronto? That's dope. That's dope. Shout out Toronto. Let me see. DB Smith, what up? Unless he pulling the mic, he will never be favorable in the media. He won't. He will never be favorable in the media. Let me see. You guys going crazy in the chat. Lots of you guys showing up in the live chat. Shout out to the live chat. Miss Fancy Pants, what up? Azrael's Pet Nation, what up? Mr. 205, Young Savage, what up? Says he's getting that MV3 this year. Listen, brother. I think that it's only up from here. I think that it's only up from here. I'll say that because I agree. I agree with you. Herb, what up? Appreciate you, man, for coming through. We got another super chat donation. Again, this one coming from Mad Rasa. What he's saying now. CAA and WME agents run sports. UFC, WWE, etc. Yeah. I know WME mainly does the fight sports and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. Well, I don't know what you're trying to say with that one, but yeah, like I said, man, I still think that they would get him better opportunities, and his face might be out there more, but it doesn't mean that the media will accept him anymore. When I say the media, I mean like the national sports media, the guys who are paid to talk about him, so. But and I think he's done a good job at marketing himself, to be honest with you, because you think about it. No, he's not in a bunch of commercials, but I've seen him do interviews with Kevin Hart before. I've seen him be on, what was it, Power? He was on Power, right? Yeah. Lamar Jackson is literally an actor. Literally an actor. He has that in his repertoire. I think he's doing a pretty damn good job at marketing himself, personally. I do. Thank you so much again, brother, for your super chat donation. Appreciate that, brother. All right. At this point in time, I'm glad we went with Minter versus Kubiak. Yeah, I think so. I think I am too. A lot of us were thinking, maybe the Ravens should go for an offensive-minded head coach, but in hindsight, thinking about it now, and I think I mentioned this last week on the show too, you have a defensive-minded head coach that brings so much value to the team because now you don't have to invest as much in defense as we historically have, right? You don't, because you have a defensive-minded head coach now who can do more with less, and he's proven to do so in LA. So now you can actually shift more of your cap resources to the offense, which is where I believe it needs the most help, right? Um, we're really hoping right now when it comes to offensive line. I think if the Ravens can go out there and I can't even say get or acquire a solid center because really, like honestly, what are the options right now? What are the options right now? I mean, anybody that we bring in is going to have to compete with the likes of Corey Bullock and Javon Gwynn and things like that. So, hopefully they can get something locked down there. But no, yeah, my overall point was I love the fact that we got Jesse Minter. Love the fact we got Minter because it takes a lot of stress and strain off of the defense, right? Harbaugh wasn't helping anything. Let's just be real about it. He was a culture guy. He wasn't a guy who was going to be hands on with either side of the football. He was going to work his guys to death, and he was going to special teams was his baby, but he was delegating most of the coordination work to his OCs and DCs, which is fair. You can do that. There's other successful coaches like that around the league as well, but most of the successful coaches, they specialize in one side of the ball. Just saying. Just saying. All right. Let's go ahead and move on here. Fam. Black Daniels, I see you in the chat, man. Appreciate you for coming through. Antoine, what up? And shout out to the replay gang. Listen, if you're watching the replay of this live stream, special shout out to you. I appreciate you for coming through. What I need you to do, though, I need you to comment down below. I want your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns on everything having to do with this episode. Do you agree with my takes here? Do you not agree? Let me know down below. All right. Now, let's get into this. So, apparently, the Ravens may not be having a home game until week 4. And before we dive deep into this, guys, listen to what I'm about to say. This is a YouTube channel where I do report news to you. But since I report so much news to you, and you guys know how I am when I get into my tangents, and I tend to overthink things. You guys are here because you listen to me yap, right? And I appreciate you guys for doing that. But what I'm basically saying is not everything. Like, don't take everything of what I'm reporting to you unless I tell you it's officially official. Don't take it 100% serious. Again, we post content on the channel every day. So yes, we're following all of the heartbeats, and some heartbeats include what? Rumors. They do. Nothing's confirmed yet, but people are kind of speculating, and it's starting to make sense here. And of course, you can decide for yourself whether or not it makes sense to you. But people are starting to speculate that the Ravens may not be having a home game until week 4. So I'm just going to read through this here just really quick. It says the Ravens could still start week 1 at home, but because of the rugby game going on Saturday, there's a possibility that they don't. Week 2, the Orioles have home games against the Brewers, so that makes it also unlikely. And week 3 is against Dallas in Rio. And then it goes on to say, that all being said, are you more disappointed that we'll have to wait so long to see them play at home? Or are you happy because of that means there will be more home games later in the season, which gives a bit of an advantage when fighting for playoff seeding? So as we know right now, let's start with this. I prefaced it with that, but let's start our analysis with this. We already know, here are the facts. We already know that the Ravens will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Brazil on week 3. We already know that as fact. And what we also know about that game is that it is a designated away game for the Baltimore Ravens. So, one might surmise that the Ravens would either be getting a home game in week, I'd say 2, because when it comes to this Orioles game that they're talking about, I don't know. And some people were telling me this. I'm like listening from Orioles fans as well. I don't know if they would, how do you say, care about scheduling a Ravens game around an Orioles game. I know the parks are right next to each other. But apparently the turnout for Orioles games, now that they're kind of not performing this season, hasn't been the greatest. Plus, You could also do Sunday Night Football, right? If the game starts early, you could maybe have the Ravens in the later window, something like that. I don't know. So it is possible, but there is a reason why it could also be unlikely. So basically, we're saying all this to say the Ravens may not be at home until week 4. Keyword may not. We will know more on Thursday. And of course, we will be live on Thursday. So we'll clean all this up if it's not right. But Ravens may not be home until week 4 of the season. So following up from that, the question is, are you more disappointed that we'll have to wait so long to see them play at home, or happy because that means that we will have more home games later in the season? I think that it is amazing. This would be probably the best case scenario for the Ravens. To me. I've heard people say, no, the Ravens need a home game. You got a rookie head coach. You want him to be at home, comfortable with support around him. You don't want to throw him into the fire, right? The enemy's nest, week 1 through 3, before he even gets to the bank and feels all the love from Charm City. But honestly, who gives a damn about any of that? Like, honestly, listen, Jesse Minter is a grown-ass man with kids who has coached in this league for years. As a matter of fact, he used to coach with this team. Now, has he ever been a head coach? No. But he's been damn close. Defensive coordinator, it's damn close. Again, it's not head coach, but we got to stop acting like, it would just be too much for him. No, I think that would be perfect. Give us more away games early. Listen, historically, first 4 games of the season, Lamar Jackson is a demon anyway. I mean, you're talking, and by the way, these are real stats. Throughout Lamar Jackson's career as a starting quarterback for the NFL and for the Ravens, 106 quarterback rating. Again, these are only his first 4 games of all his regular seasons combined. 106 quarterback rating. 52 touchdowns to about 11 interceptions. I mean, he's and his efficiency is through the roof. He's really good early in the year. He is. He's going to be fresh. He's going to be healthy. And then if you're telling me down the stretch of the season, when it starts getting cold outside, we're kind of jockeying for position in the AFC North, or hell, maybe even the AFC, and you're telling me we're getting consecutive home games, or we don't got to travel so much and people are coming to our house, I like the sound of that a lot. And another thing, I think with this schedule release, what was I going to say? I think with the schedule release, the Ravens will benefit from having this new regime here. Here's what I mean. As we know, the strength of schedule, as a matter of fact, I want to bring this up on screen so we can all take a look at it. The strength of schedule for the Ravens is not very high this year. So here's a chart from Jordan Schultz from the Schultz Report. Shout out to him. It says every team's 2026 NFL strength of schedule based on current projected win totals. Okay, so normally, if you pull stats like this from the NFL, they're going to give you strength of schedule, but it's only going to be off of what happened last season. This list right here, it actually takes into account offseason moves and roster changes. Now, can you absolutely, like, quantitatively produce something like this? Probably not. Right? But I do think that qualitatively, it's a fair list. Okay. Now, where you see the Ravens on this list is at number 6. That means the Ravens have the 6th easiest schedule in the National Football League right now. The 6th easiest. And oh, by the way, the Ravens also, and let's just take another look at the Ravens 2026 opponents. Let's just take a look at that as well while we're at it, right? Oh, by the way, the Ravens have these opponents this year. Only ones that really scare you and that jump off the screen is like, oh, shit, that's going to be a good one. Buffalo and Houston. Outside of that, I'm cool with any one of those. Any one of those games outside of Buffalo and Houston, I'm picking the Ravens to win. Will the Ravens probably lose some of those games? Yes. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm picking the Ravens to win all those games, barring any sort of catastrophic injuries, things like that. I'm picking the Ravens to win. And so what I want to tell you guys here is that since the Ravens have this new coaching regime, and every time the Ravens get new coaches, the entire team turns up. I mean, you can look, literally, we mentioned it yesterday on PRP. By the way, great episode with Charm City Sideline, Bradley from Charm City Sideline Pod, last night's pod. Make sure you check that out. That was a really good one. And subscribe to their channel too. But all these opponents here are going to have to face up against a Ravens team with a new identity. And every time the Ravens throw a new identity at the league, again, Todd Monken becomes OC. What did Lamar Jackson do? Win MVP. First year Lamar Jackson as a starter in Greg Roman's offense, what did he do? Win MVP. So now third time, it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I don't know. Starting to become a trend. So once the Ravens throw this new identity at the league that's going to take them a while to figure out, normally about a season for teams to get full tape and really study and things like that and hone in on what the Ravens want to do, the Ravens are going to be playing some lackluster teams. Teams that do not have equalizing talent, right? So in real time, when the bullets are flying, you're playing the Ravens, and it's like, oh, they're throwing all these things at us that we've never seen before. Most of the teams that the Ravens play do not have players that have equalizing talent. What do I mean by equalizing talent? They don't have Josh Allen. And I know we play the Bills. I'm not talking about them. They don't have a Patrick Mahomes, right? They don't have, those type of, outside of the Cincinnati Bengals, we know what they have with Burrow and Chase and things like that. I'm not even necessarily talking about teams in our division. I'm looking at all the other teams that we're playing. I see, teams from the AFC South, like the Jags. I don't think will be able to hang with us. The Titans, what are we talking about? The Saints, they're still a year or two off, if you ask me. Like, none of these teams have equalizing talent to where whatever the Ravens got going on, they're just going to thwart it, basically. Overcome it. Like, they don't have that. So the Ravens basically have the perfect storm this year, regardless of if, what the schedule ends up looking like on Thursday. Regardless, the Ravens still have a very, very favorable slate of games coming up this season. In a very favorable situation. They're in a great situation. That's what I mean by that. 86 Ghosts with the membership. Appreciate you, brother, joining the Rain Gang family. Appreciate that. 86 Ghosts in the chat. Let me see. What else y'all are saying? Stroud ain't gonna like Mentor's defense. Oh, not at all. Not at all. What do you guys think will go down at Brazil? Oh, man. That is going to be fun. And, I'm glad you brought this up because I think that Brazil game, so you'll be 2 weeks into the season, we'll know what this Ravens team is about. That's right. Only 2 weeks in, we'll kind of have a good idea of what this Ravens team is going to look like going forward, right? We'll kind of be able to start seeing in real time the identity across those 2 games, weeks 1 and 2. So by week 3, not that I think that the Cowboys are a massive threat or anything like that. They do have, I think, equalizing talent at wide receiver with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. Depending on how disgruntled George Pickens, I don't know. But I don't really expect the Cowboys to beat the Ravens. I mean, I normally don't because they just haven't really shown the ability to do it in years past, right? I mean, we kind of own the Cowboys. No, yeah, we own the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. So that's what I think is going to go down at Brazil. I think that the Ravens are going to stomp the Cowboys, and if the Ravens do stomp the Cowboys in Brazil, and they're 3-0 at that point, rest of the league, watch out. Rest of the league, watch out. It could be another one of those snowballing seasons, kind of like 2019, where the Ravens are just getting better and better and better. And oh, they blew out that team now too. And oh, Lamar Jackson threw for 5 touchdowns that week, and they're getting better. Oh, they're the number 1 seed. It could go like that, which is why I'm very curious to see who they want the Ravens to play week 1. Because the word on the streets is that it's probably going to be on the road, right? That's what we just got done talking about. But who knows? A lot of people have been saying the Chargers could be a possibility for the Ravens to play in LA in week 1. Of course, storylines, it tracks. You have Jesse Minter, who just came from over there. Jim Harbaugh, who's coaching the Chargers. He's going up against his brother's former team, right? He's going to want to avenge his brother, right? Against his old defensive coordinator. It's going to be one of those. Great story. Great storylines. Of course, then, you got the quarterbacks, Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson, all that good stuff. So I can see that happening. And if it were to happen, I think that would be, to be honest with you guys, I think that would honestly be the worst case scenario for the Ravens. If the Ravens end up getting matched up against the LA Chargers in week 1 in LA, not saying I would necessarily pick the Ravens to lose, but I think that's a hell of a first game for a first-time head coach, Jesse Minter. Just first game, right out the gate, I'm going up against my former superior. Like no warm up here, no Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, right? No, you know what I mean? Or no, we play the Titans at home. Or no, Falcons, just a warm up team, a little layup to get started. The Chargers would be a tough task. They will be a very, very tough task. Week 1 for the Ravens. I do believe that. We have owned them. I see y'all in the chat. We have owned them, but I think that would be tough, though. I think that would be hard. I'd rather play Pittsburgh. If I'm being honest with you. I would 100% rather play Pittsburgh week 1 in Pittsburgh. So, but that's just me, though. That's just me, guys. That's all. Let me see. Okay, so what I also wanted to get into, guys, was a couple of these other schedule leaks, right? And again, like I said at the top of the show, they're not necessarily leaks. They're more so just like information that the league is putting out slowly but surely, little by little, to keep engagement steady, And I think for these broadcast companies like NBC and Amazon Prime and Netflix and all of them, they're all trying to. It's kind of like a bidding war, right? I'm sure the rights to these games and where they will be streamed is a very, very hot topic in NFL corporate right about now. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the most recent news to come out when it comes to these schedule leaks, right? Here's a guy I've been following for the past couple of days here, and he's been right. He's been calling the shots on all of these schedule leaks here, and yeah, sure enough, they come back valid. I'm sure you guys can probably hear my dog in the background. He says hi to the Rain Gang. But I wanted to bring this up because it's relevant to the AFC North. The Atlanta Falcons will host the Cincinnati Bengals in Madrid this season at the Bernabeu, Week 9. The game is scheduled for November 8th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So you have Joe Burrow, who apparently, and I didn't know this until today, he was an advocate for the Bengals having an international game. And it's like, all right, maybe be an advocate for making the playoffs first, but I don't know. I don't know. But either way, I think that will be a fun one. A fun one. I mean, the Falcons. When the Falcons are playing in prime time, I have to watch because I love Bijan Robinson. That's my guy. He's one of my favorite players to watch in this league. It'll be interesting to see how he operates this year. And then I also love Drake London too. I don't necessarily know who they'll have starting at quarterback. Don't they have Tua now? But again, then of course you have Penix. Still, we'll see what they do. But that should be an interesting one. Man. We're at that time in the offseason, guys, where any football matchup just sounds good right about now. Right? Anything sounds great. I'll take Titans Saints. Right? I'll take Titans versus Saints and wake me up at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday to watch it. Starving. Your boy is jonesing for some football. Moving on, though. More NFL schedule news. This dropped about 2 hours ago at the time of this recording. The Pittsburgh Steelers and New Orleans Saints will face off in the inaugural NFL Paris game at the Stade de France. The first ever NFL game in France is set for October 25th, week 7, with kickoff at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So you have another AFC North team going overseas. The entire AFC North. Did they announce the Browns yet? I'm not sure. I don't think that they did. I don't know if they want the Browns overseas. If I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. I don't think that they have announced the Browns overseas yet, though. Just the Bengals. But yeah, Steelers versus Saints. I mean, again, man, I'll take it. In May, I'll take any of these matchups. I'm sure when this time rolls around, October 25th, I'll be like, Steelers, Saints. I mean, I guess I'll wake up at 8:30 in the morning to tune in to Steelers versus Saints Paris game. I gotta watch because it's the Steelers, right? In prime time. So that's going to be one of those. I mean, interesting. What I want to do, guys, I've been thinking about this. Let me know what you guys think in the chat or the comments. I want to bring a diehard Steelers fan on the podcast, right, on Quiet Storm. And I want to talk to said Steelers fan about their outlook on the Steelers this upcoming season and what they expect from the future of the Ravens versus Steelers rivalry. So I got to work on that. I got to get a Steelers fan on the show here soon so we can kind of debate and go back and forth on that because I'm sure you'll have Steelers fans out there who are so delusional, right? They'd probably get up here and tell me how the Steelers are about to win the AFC North or some crazy stuff like that, right? But moving on. This was announced about an hour ago. The Jacksonville Jaguars will face the Philadelphia Eagles in London at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Game is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, October 11th, week 5. Jaguars will host at Wembley the following week. So the Jags have been around, across the pond for years now. They've been sending the Jags over there for years. And it's my understanding that a lot of American football fans over in that London, England area, they love the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've taken a liking to them. Now, the Jags are a very interesting team because for me last year, right when I started to count Trevor Lawrence out, every time I started to count Trevor Lawrence and the Jags out, they kind of just turned things around. And, yes, they lost in the wild card round, but they gave the Bills a run for their money. They gave the Bills a run for their money in that game. And I think they're an interesting team. I think that they're still a couple of pieces away from actually being real contenders. But going up against the Eagles, that'll be a hell of a test. Week 5, that'll be a hell of a test. Don't really know what to expect from the Eagles too much this year either. At least offensively, I don't. Because obviously, as we know, A.J. Brown is about 18 days away from being traded, something like that. A.J. Brown is getting traded post June 1. That's already been all but confirmed. And so, Saquon Barkley didn't have a great year last season. He's only getting older. Is Devonta Smith and they drafted Mekhi Lemon? Are they really the future of this offense? We'll see. The Eagles should be an interesting watch as well. They should be a very interesting watch. You also have Colts versus Commanders. I think they announced that one earlier. Colts versus Commanders, October 4th. Commanders should be another team to watch Commanders should be another team to watch there. I mean, they were probably the hottest team in the league in 2024. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. Hottest team in the league, the Commanders were in 2024. 2025 kind of fell off a little bit. Jaden Daniels got hurt a little bit. They kind of had a year that kind of looked like the Ravens in a way. It did. I mean, they fell off a little harder, but their year kind of looked like ours in a few different ways. But yeah, and this is just now 13 minutes ago. Yeah, Colts Cowboys week 4. So yeah, we're getting down to it, y'all. The schedule is right around the corner, and I tell you, here at PRP, we will be covering the schedule release live when it comes on, or when it comes out on Thursday. I think it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I believe that's what it is. Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 7 my time. And me and Alex, we have already agreed that we're going to adjust the time of our main pod. So it'll be episode 406 of the Purple Rain podcast. We will be doing that a little bit later, because there's no point in going live an hour and a half before the schedule drops. And as soon as we are done with the live, the schedule drops and the whole episode becomes obsolete. So we will be going live a little bit later. That's just a PSA there. 8 p.m. Yep. Short Kings need love. What are we talking about here in the live chat? What are we talking about in the live chat? 115 people watching live right now across all platforms. If you're watching over on YouTube, please be sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. Again, like you guys see in the live chat, the pinned comment says, we appreciate your support. Want to know why? Because we do. All of the views, all the time, the watch hours and things like that, the likes, the subscriptions, the memberships, the super chat donations, the gifts, everything. We love all you guys for. We appreciate you guys here at the Purple Rain podcast. Tila says JD5 will be back healthy. Hopefully. I think he will too. Who did they get? Sonny Styles. I still think that they need more weapons on offense. I don't really like the Commanders' weapons on offense, but yeah, hopefully they bounce back. They're like my second team. I like them. AJ Brown is getting traded to Dirty Diana. Yeah, he will be going to the New England Patriots. Yeah, they love the Jags. When I went there, that's the only team gear I saw in stores. Yep. That's for sure. Smitty says Ravens don't have enough leakers. I'm trying to see something. Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, that bro. Like, listen, I'm seeing all these games get leaked. Now, here's what I will say. I'm personally hoping for less primetime games for the Ravens. Like, obviously, we already have one in Brazil. I'm thinking week 1 will probably be primetime as well, because why not put the Ravens in primetime week 1? It's about selling tickets. You do that with Lamar versus Herbert. And the other storylines that we mentioned earlier. But where was I going with this, guys? Jesus, don't even remember. Lost my train of thought. Just that easy. But no. Oh yeah, that's right. The primetime games. I just would rather have the Ravens play maybe one less primetime game throughout like the middle of the season. And if you want to put us on Christmas or Thanksgiving, fine. But for damn sure not both, because they did that to the Chiefs. Don't do that to the Ravens. Make it one or the other. Honestly, I think I would prefer. Honestly, I don't know. Because imagine if the Ravens lost on Christmas against Houston a couple years ago. Would that have hurt more than the loss against the Bengals last year on Thanksgiving? Never thought about it like that. Because imagine losing on Christmas. Your Christmas is ruined. Oh, we've done that before, though, haven't we? We've done that before. What was it? The Steelers, right? I want to say. I think we played the Steelers on Christmas, lost. I think we've also played the 49ers on Christmas, if I'm not mistaken, and we won that game. That was back in, what, 09, 2010, something like that? if my memory serves correct. Thanksgiving over Christmas. I agree. I think I agree. Storm the doors in Owings Mills, Tila. We need answers. We need answers because they're not doing enough for me. They are not doing enough for me. They are not doing enough for me. Need at least 6 to 7 primetime games? I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. Afia says, what is the height max for a short king? No idea. The height max for a short king? No idea. I'm going to say Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers. How about that? That's the max height for a short king. All right. So, I think that was about all I had to talk to you guys about here on this episode of the show. Again, like I led off the show with, guys, do not allow people to sway your opinions on the Lamar Jackson contract situation. As much as the national media will try to tell you all these things and fill up your head with doubt about how much Lamar Jackson is locked in with the Ravens and in tune and on the same page with them. Don't let them shake your perspective on that, because none of it's true. None of it's true. Lamar is not signing. I'll say this one last time. He's not signing an extension right now, not because he doesn't like the Ravens, but because he's actually a businessman. I know it's hard for some of you to look at him like that. I'm not talking about you guys Ravens fans, but like I'm talking to the national media. I know it's hard for a lot of the national media to look at Lamar Jackson like a businessman who's trying to make the best business decision for him. Very difficult to look at Lamar and say he doesn't have an agent and he's about to be the highest paid player of all time twice. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that. But don't let them change your perspective. He's just smart. He's holding out until he has a much better season this year, a bounce back year with Jesse Minter and the whole new regime. So don't let them fool you, but they are lying. They will lie to you about that. Again, guys, before y'all get out of here on this episode, please be sure to like the video. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and Tila, you know I had to do it to him. You know I had to do it. About Zay Flowers. But listen, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through. We will be live tomorrow again with another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Please be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.